A banging midweek brought a bounty of goals that had even the most seasoned of MLS newcomers bouncing. And the warm welcomes continued into week 18, spanning Saturday, Sunday and Independence Day on the Monday. Our review of the action begins in the East at Yankee Stadium.
With his right foot, swings it across the 18. Ever is there!
From 3 down to 4-all in Cincinnati. Could NYCFC find a first win under Nick Cushing?
A rocket off the foot of Gabriel Pereira.
They hosted Atlanta United.
Poked in by who else? Joseph Martinez.
Who aimed to avoid a second New York defeat in a week. Commentary comes from Sam Parkin and Phil Blacker.
A little slip by George Campbell, audacious attempt onto the roof of the net.
It's a really bad error, a slip. Maxi Morales looks square, surveys the situation, goes for the audacious lob, and it's very, very close. It's a brilliant attempt.
Tinahom joining in with the attack. Santiago Rodriguez trying to get around Campbell. Castellanos just too high.
Terrific play once more. They're finding it so easy to combine, get down the side of Atlanta. Wonderful stuff from Rodriguez. Starts his run infield. I thought his touch had got away from him, but the stand-up is absolutely perfect. Had to be accurate with the header in. Couldn't work the target.
Tyler Magno looking for Castellanos as he stayed onside. Thumps in the finish. It looked close, but there is no doubting the quality of the effort from Tati Castellanos.
It must have been close. Really intelligent run once more. It's a difficult finish. The angle's tight. I don't think the goalkeeper could do too much about that one. Passed him in a flash.
Close, but just onside. It's his 9th goal of the MLS season. Diego Almada. Atlanta will look to for a little more than we've seen so far, but he was dispossessed, and Rodriguez advances here for NYCFC. Options either side. This is Maxi Morales, this is Anton Tinahom to cut it back. Franco on the line is able to keep it out. Somehow, that really should have been 2. Rodriguez knows it.
Beautifully worked. Didn't quite wrap his right foot around it, slightly behind him, and Atlanta survive.
This is Joseph Martinez. Wonderfully opportunistic finish, and he sticks it away in fabulous fashion.
It's a quite brilliant finish. He hasn't got a lot to aim at there. Almada with the pick out, and that has got to be perfect. There's such power and a little bit of bend on the finish from Martinez. Expertly done from their talisman.
And he is now out on his own as Atlanta's top scorer in MLS this season, Joseph Martinez, with his 5th of an injury-interrupted campaign. 2nd since his return. Here's Castellanos as NYCFC set about trying to restore their advantage. McFadden got something on it. Tyler Magno returns it. Castellanos scores! And just like that, NYCFC restore their lead.
I always say how vulnerable you can be when you've just scored, and it's a similar move that's got NYCFC such success throughout the proceedings, really. Balls played in beyond, in between centre-halves and full-backs. A runner getting to the byline. Magno perfectly cuts it back. The pace on the ball. Castellanos just has to concentrate on getting the contact, which he does. He gets his brace.
Moreno, final 5 of the 90 in the Bronx. Forward by Franco. Will come here, forces there. Ross, 3 in the middle. Cuts it back for Dom Dwyer for 2-2. He's been on the pitch for a matter of moments and might just have salvaged something for Atlanta in spectacular style.
What a brilliant finish, just dispatched by Dwyer. There's players in front of him, there's the goalkeeper to beat, and that is just arrowed into the far corner.
It's ended all square. New York City FC 2, Atlanta United 2.
We were able to absorb that pressure good at times, and then at the end of the game, we pushed for the victory. Credit and a good statement for my team that never quit, never surrender, and they got a point out of that.
After beating Atlanta 3 days earlier, the New York Red Bulls began Week 18 second in the East, hunting down top spot. Aaron Long's header had them set for the summit early in the second half. Sporting Kansas City fought back strongly, and Cam Duke's determination forced a decision which had the potential to change the course of the game. The referee initially played the advantage, but had spotted Sean Nealis handling the ball. The yellow card he initially received was upgraded to red following the video review. The Red Bulls needed to see out the remaining 17 minutes a man light, and in stoppage time denied Nicolas Isimat-Mirim right at the last. A clearance which ensured SKC would lose to the East new leaders.
Behind the Red Bulls, the Philadelphia Union were on the road again after defeat in Chicago on Wednesday. And they didn't make the best of starts. Daniel Gazdag conceding a penalty 18 minutes in for a foul on the crew's Sean Zawadzki. But Jim Curtin's men were saved by the ever-reliable Andre Blake, who denied Pedro Santos, just as he had when the sides met at Subaru Park last season. The Portuguese wingback thought he'd made amends when he set up Lucas Zelarayan midway through the second half. But the goal was disallowed due to the presence of Eric Hurtado, who was offside and in Blake's line of sight. Just a point for Caleb Porter's men, who are unbeaten in 5.
DC United were one of the few that didn't play midweek. That extra time to ponder a 3-game losing streak appeared to do them good. In Orlando, Taxi Funtas had the visitors in front inside the first 5 minutes and was in a hurry to add to his burgeoning reputation. Who says you can never find a taxi when you need one? That certainly wasn't the case for Michael Estrada, who spotted Funtas was ready to pick up another MLS goal just 3 minutes later. The Greek international's 8th in the league since joining in March, and there was more to come.
Oh, what a goal! It's a hat-trick for Taxi Funtas!
If Orlando seemed to have lost their way, Facundo Torres restored a sense of direction soon after by reducing the deficit, and followed that with a free kick, which helped to put the game back in the balance.
3-2! Here they come!
But focusing on the push for an equaliser brought its own dangers, exploited by Drew Skundrich with a piercing pass for Kimani Smith. 3 minutes after arriving from the bench, the Englishman had scored in MLS for the very first time. But again, Orlando chipped away at DC's advantage. Alexandre Pato's cute pass to Benji Michel drew a foul from Brendan Hines-Ike, and the Brazilian who created the opportunity had the chance to keep the home side in contention with 10 minutes to play. The penalty dispatched impressively as Oscar Pereira's players continued their spirited attempt to salvage the contest. The Lions were eventually vanquished in the 6th minute of stoppage time.
Araujo gives it up to Roberta, and DC United wins! Nigel Roberta puts it away!
A suitably exciting finish to one of the games of the season.
The East's last 2 playoff spots were occupied by FC Cincinnati and New England at the start of Week 18, and they played out an entertaining 90 minutes at Gillette Stadium. Dylan Borrero got things going for the hosts on the half-hour, scoring for the second home game in a row, the assist coming from Sebastian Lletget. But Cincinnati pulled level before half-time when a corner meant for Brandon Vasquez was instead flicked in by defender Henry Kessler for an own goal. It was another near-post header at the same end that put the Revs back in the lead. Emmanuel Boateng making an impact off the bench with the cross. Gustavo Bo getting his 4th goal in the last 6 games on what was his 60th MLS start. And with the final 20 minutes just around the corner, their keeper Georgi Petrovic excelled himself with a double save to preserve the lead and deny Vasquez from close range. Brilliant reactions from the Serbian stopper, but it wasn't quite enough to guarantee the win. Cincinnati boasts the league's leading assist maker in their ranks, and Luciano Acosta did it again, his 10th of the season, allowing Brenner to score for the 3rd game in a row. The draw brought a milestone 25 points for the visitors, the most ever in one season. The Revs stretched their unbeaten run to 10 games, the longest in MLS this year.
The Seattle Sounders are making full use of their squad to cope with a busy schedule. And on his full debut, one homegrown 22-year-old seized his opportunity.
And it's a goal for Dylan Tevez. Seattle have the lead.
Toronto have paid the price for a slow start, according to coach Bob Bradley, who said that was a step back after seeing some improvement in recent weeks. When Freddie Montero rattled the bar after the break, it was something of a wake-up call for the home side, who upped the intensity themselves. Battling hard in midfield to gain possession before Jesus Jimenez played in Alejandro Pozuelo. Stephen Cleveland to the rescue, and Brian Schmetzer's team soon responded by making the points safe.
Here's Ladero pushing this one through. It's a great chance for Seattle as Freddie Montero doubles the Sounders' lead on the hour at BMO Fields.
Level on points with Seattle at kickoff, FC Dallas and Alan Velasco faced into Miami's defensive wall 27 minutes in.
That's how he deals with the big wall. Just shoot around it. Velasco, golazo!
Searching for a first win in 4 games, the home side were frustrated by an inability to take their other chances. Winger Paul Arriola in particular, who would have expected to bury this one. And they paid for it when Miami equalised with just 2 minutes to go. Robert Taylor skipping away to set up substitute Leonardo Campana via a deflection. Only the 3rd time they've avoided defeat on the road this season, a reward for their resilience, according to coach Phil Neville.
To a cross-conference match-up at PNC Stadium, where the Houston Dynamo welcomed expansion side Charlotte FC, who were still chasing a first-ever away win in MLS. Calling this one, Jonathan Beck.
Reina. Swiderski darting. Swiderski hits the post. The Poland international very close to his first away goal in MLS. Hector Herrera, Houston's new DP, is here to watch. Christian Fuchs to Reina. They're looking to find him whenever they can. It's another cross, and this one's gone all the way through to Kamil Jóźwiak, and it's gone in off Vera. It's an own goal from Matias Vera. Well, he had to do something to make sure it didn't reach Swiderski. And this, for the Dynamo, is the unfortunate result. Charlotte have the lead away from home. Christian Latanzio has talked about the importance of getting the first away win as soon as possible. Ruiz, he sets Swiderski scurrying away. He's in behind. He squared it for Jóźwiak. It's a golden opportunity missed, and Jóźwiak just has to hit the target. It's a huge let-off for the Dynamo. Bronico. He's threaded it through the gap. Suddenly Charlotte are looking forward. Reina. And now Jóźwiak, he's onside. Out comes Steve Clark. Clark, has he forced him wide enough? Again, Jóźwiak has to do better. Maybe Clark did just enough, but with Swiderski arriving at the far post, this is yet another big chance for that second goal, which would give the breathing space. Found Andre Shinyashiki. He's still getting up to speed. Gaines pulling away. Gaines back to Shinyashiki. It just will not go in for Charlotte. It's another neat build-up, another big chance. Vera, always giving it away. Houston are having a hard time building up from the back. Here goes Shinyashiki, driving forward, and still, and scoring! The Brazilian has brought the energy off the bench, and now he's brought the goal. 2 in 2 away games for him. Is this the moment they are going to get that first win? The Dynamo haven't shown enough, and they've been punished. Rodriguez. Darwin Quintero scoops one over the top. This is Pico! The flag is up. It was a neat finish and a brilliant piece of vision from Quintero. It looked tight too. Pico did the right thing and put it away. It is tight. And the referee is now going over to take a look. What is the outcome? It is a goal. And it's a first ever away win for Charlotte. It's finished the Houston Dynamo 1, Charlotte 2.
I'm very proud of my team, of this team, because it's a team that showed that they can play and succeed in different ways. When they have to play, they play, and when they have to defend and suffer for each other, they do that as well.
Top of the West, LAFC carried confidence into a testing trip to Vancouver, but Latif Blessing could only curse his bad luck after whistling in a warning that the leaders weren't daunted by the Canadians' superb home record. Since Vanni Sartini took charge last August, Portland were the only club to escape BC Place with maximum points. Brian White struck the post in the second half as Vancouver pushed for their 5th home league win of the season, and pressure began to mount. One loose pass was all it took to break LAFC's 5-match unbeaten streak, punished by Andres Cubas, whose first ever goal for the Whitecaps gave Sartini yet another home success to celebrate. That 89th minute strike meant it was too late for the pace setters to respond.
Behind LAFC in second, Austin FC returned to Colorado, the scene of their first ever MLS win, but swiftly found themselves 2 goals down. Lalas Abubakar impressively contributed the first of those. 3 minutes later, the Rapids made their first home game in over 5 weeks, a very happy return, moving from the back to the front in seconds and delivering again.
Jonathan Lewis! Just the most delicate of touches!
After 2 high-quality finishes at one end, the home side let themselves down at the other as John Gallagher's pass was allowed all the way through to Ethan Finlay. And he scored for the first time since week 2. By half-time, the visitors had recovered enough to bring themselves level. Gallagher again with the assist, this time for Sebastian Driussi, and he made it 10 goals for the season. Looking for a third straight away when Austin kept up the pressure in the second half, and they thought they'd taken the lead when Maxi Urruti volleyed in. A fine finish from their other in-form Argentine, but this one didn't count. Ruled out for handball after video review. 7 minutes later, he wouldn't be denied after a clever dummy from Driussi.
Space there, left for Urruti, and it is 3-2, and it is Urruti, and that one will not be called back.
Having scored only 2 goals all season, Abubakar nearly made it 2 in one game. This towering header came back off the post. Robin Fraser's men were still very much in the game, but they failed to find an equaliser, despite competing against 10 men for the final 15 minutes, after Kip Keller picked up a second yellow card for that foul on Diego Rubio. It's 3 defeats in the last 4 now for the Rapids.
Below Austin in third, Real Salt Lake won just once in June and suffered an early setback in their efforts to make July more successful. Minnesota United's Emmanuel Reynoso was very much in the mood, blasting the Loons into a 9th minute lead. The Argentinian netted twice before the break last time out in Minnesota's win at the LA Galaxy. Aaron Herrera's rash challenge offered him the opportunity to repeat the trick. More for RSL boss Pablo Mastroni to chew over with half-time approaching. And though Zach McMath tried his best, the keeper couldn't prevent Reynoso from putting Minnesota in command. A spell back in the dressing rooms did nothing to slow their momentum. RSL were quickly under the cosh when the teams returned, with Robin Lurd leading the charge. A reprieve, but Minnesota continued to carve their opponents apart.
And also lovely delivery through. A real opening here for Luis Amarilla! Goals change games.
3 up, just as Adrian Heath's men were in Los Angeles. To add to the sense of déjà vu, that's when things began to go wrong. Jefferson Savarino restored hope for Real Salt Lake. And within 5 minutes of that, the revival looked on. Anderson Julio's header brought about a second successive nervous finish, which Minnesota survived, once again winners by 3 goals to 2.
After that defeat to the Loons, the LA Galaxy welcomed a Montreal side that started Week 18 top of the East. But the Canadian visitors were quickly toppled from their perch.
Back post, Chicha, score! And that's what the Galaxy needed! Inside 8 minutes, 1-0.
This was a 7th straight home game in all competitions for the Galaxy, but they'd won only 2 of the previous 6. After scoring early in the half, they picked up a second late on when Joel Waterman was penalised for handball. Referee Tim Ford gave it, but only after a video review. Having won it, Dejan Joveljic stepped up to score it too. That made it 5 goals in his last 4 MLS matches. Ryan Ravelisson hadn't yet found the net this season, but the Madagascan midfielder was soon making up for lost time.
Araujo plays it on through, score! Ryan Ravelisson!
He grabbed a second too, as they posted their biggest win of the season so far, but Sasha Klestian's sublime assist was what everyone was talking about. The Galaxy moved into the top 4 in the West, Montreal tumbled from the eastern summit.
Staying in California, another cross-conference fixture included a Chicago Fire side whose inability to convert their chances is driving coach Ezra Hendrickson to despair. Having seen Federico Navarro foiled by San Jose's JT Marcinkowski, there was more of the same when Chris Mueller broke into the box. Try, and try again can be the only message for a team with the worst scoring record across the whole of MLS pre-match. A philosophy adopted by the Quakes when Jamiro Montero was denied and Marcos Lopez hit the bar. Christian Espinoza had the luxury of 2 bites before perseverance finally paid off.
Tapped in! Goal, San Jose! Benji Kikanovic!
After one of the strangest goals they'll ever score, the approach for San Jose's second was more conventional and superbly taken.
Kikanovic with his head up, stops, left foot, shot! Oh, wow! It's a brace for Benji!
The only time he'd ever scored more than once in an MLS match, but the striker will have to keep striving for his first hat-trick. Instead, it was the Fire who had the final say, as Brian Gutierrez tucked away his first MLS goal with the kind of composure Chicago need to show more often. Only a consolation, but encouragement for the future.
To our final game, another goal-rich affair. Just the second ever meeting between these two, and the first time Portland had travelled to Nashville. It was kicked off in style by Sean Davis. The home midfielder's first MLS goal in almost 5 years was one to savour. So too was the save from his teammate Elliot Panico at the other end. The standout moment of the keeper's home debut. This denied Santiago Moreno what seemed a certain goal. Few players have been as prolific as Hani Mukhtar over the last 6 weeks, and Nashville's talisman made it 9 goals in his last 9 matches in all competitions. At this point, they looked a good bet for a first home win since mid-May, particularly as they've never lost in MLS when Mukhtar's found the net. But they did let things slip in a difficult 5-minute spell, which began with them conceding this penalty, when Panico compounded his mistake by toppling Jaroslav Niskoda. Dyron Asprilla did the business from the spot, despite the keeper's best efforts. And the momentum shifted, with the Timbers back in the hunt. Having won the penalty, their Polish striker then brought them level with his 3rd goal in the last 3 games. Niskoda beating Panico high at his near post to earn them a point. It might even have been all 3 had Marvin Loria's stoppage time effort dipped a little more at the last minute rather than clipping the bar. It's 1 win in 5 in all competitions for Nashville, 4 without defeat for Giovanni Savarese and the Timbers.
Nashville fall a place to 6th in the West following that draw, while the LA Galaxy move up to 4th ahead of El Tráfico next week. LAFC will go into that one top, but with their lead over Austin reduced to 2 points.
It's the New York Red Bulls in the #1 spot in the East, as Montreal slipped to 3rd. Cincinnati have swapped places with Orlando, whose defeat to DC has lifted the capital club off the bottom.
We leave you with the 4 Independence Day fixtures that produce no less than a remarkable 19 goals.
Let's go! Golasso! Back to Sasha, heels it in, Ravella's in for 2! Score!
To Roberta, and DC United wins!
This copyrighted broadcast of Major League Soccer may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of Major League Soccer.